Okay, guys, strengths. What you are good at. You know, that weak side to me was and is something that we just constantly improve on because weaknesses are going to continue to come about. I mean, we're always looking, we should always be looking at what can we do to improve. That should be just built within ourselves. What can I improve on as a human being, as a professional? But the strengths are really what give us the tools to become successful and that have made us successful or that are going to lead us to the path of success. Those strengths. What we're born with, what comes natural, what we do really well. Those weaknesses are going to carry over into this, so keep that in mind. That's what's really important. But the strengths, to me, is what we need to do right now. For those of you that are saying, okay, great, Jay, I'm going to work on that, but what about now? I want to get a check tomorrow. I want to sell a house tomorrow. Well, that's going to come from our strengths. And so identifying those strengths and what you're good at, we must be able to take that into the practice, into the field. I need you to identify what those strengths are. You need to know, I'm good at this, so we can take it to the next level. Now, maybe your strengths are organization. Maybe it's process, maybe it's workflow. But I will tell you this, if we don't take time to identify the strengths and write down our action steps on what we're going to do to enhance that, then it's all for nothing because it's that busy work. It's that constant sharpening of the saw. If you haven't heard that term, you're going to hear it from me a lot. Sharpening your saw to get you better. You know the worst thing in the world is that when I feel like I fell off, like if I lost my edge. Every human being goes through some ups and some downs. And that's just part of it. You're going to have months or you're going to have weeks or days where you're just kind of like in a rut and we need to pull ourselves out of it. And in order to get out of it, we need motivation. And that's why that constant sharpening of the saw comes into play. Like I find myself personally, when it comes to being stagnant and not being motivated, I need something to get me that motivation. And a lot of times, guys, it comes from competition. Who's out there and who am I competing against and what are they doing? I am not a hater. I don't hate on people. I wish everybody all the success in the world because that success pushes me. And I hope that most of you are like that intuitively. I hope you look at somebody, and I would think that you would since you're on this course and you're listening to me, that says, I want somebody that pushes me. I want somebody to push me to get better. I want somebody that pushes me every day that I can look at that's inspiring to me to want to be better. And I always looked at the numbers because the numbers don't lie. So to me, my strength was always wanting to be number one. And no matter what I had to do, no matter how hard I had to work, no matter what needed to be done, I was going to be number one. And I wouldn't rest until it happened. And I always said, my strength, number one, without question, is you will not outwork me. It's my ethic. I have a relentless work ethic to be successful. And some of you don't. Some of you do and some of you don't. For the ones that don't, I'm challenging you to make that your number one core strength. And how do we change that? How do we give you that passion, that drive, that every day, like, I'm just going to win today. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to win the day. How do we do that? And I got to tell you, it's just disciplining yourself to create a better day. But it's disciplining yourself to be able to look at something that drives you and motivates you. So that is your number one strength. So what is that? Because it's not always about being number one. Maybe it's your kids. Maybe it's something that you want to buy. Maybe it's something flashy that you want to buy. Maybe it's something that you've been striving for. Maybe it's a new home. Maybe it's a new car. Maybe it's so your friends and family see that you're success. Maybe there is an ego to it. There's nothing wrong with that. But the number one strength in order to be super successful in this business is that you gotta want it. And so going back to sharpening that saw, that's what I always would do. I would purposely put myself in a position where I felt guilty that I wasn't doing enough and I needed to do more because I wanted to win. I wanted to win more than anything. It was never about the money. In this business, if you're successful, the money is automatic. Let me repeat that. If you're successful in this business, the money is automatic. Now it's a matter of how much you can grow into the business. So more GCI that you can create, gross commission income, so the more income that you can create. But it's sharpening of the saw that is the most important aspect when we talk about strengths, because it's something that you're already good at. But how do you stay fresh? How do you stay on top of that? How do you make sure you haven't fallen off? Because that is the worst feeling in the world, to know that somebody may pass you because you just got lazy. Something that you're really good at, all of a sudden you're getting passed up. I hate that feeling. That to me is a reminder that, whoa, wait a minute. No, you're not going to beat me. Especially at a core competency of mine, especially at a strength, you're not going to beat me. So what I'm challenging you guys to do when it comes to the strengths that you have, we asked you to identify 3 strengths, and there's going to be more. There should be more. But even on those 3, what is it that's going to keep you on top of your game so that's always a core strength of yours? That's what I want you to start thinking about. To me, it's constant reminder that we can get better. And the second thing, motivation. Improvement and motivation. Knowing that we may be here, but we can always get here and always get here and always get here. We can always get better at our strengths. We can always improve. And so when you think about that we can always improve our strengths, what do we do to improve it? And in order to get that, you have to have the drive and motivation to want to do it. And so things like, watching successful documentaries of people, looking at people that you look up to, how did they do it? I know, to me, looking at success stories, I don't care what industry it's in, it motivates me. How did they do it? Because my mindset always is, well, if they can do it, I can do it. I'm a kid that grew up in South Detroit with nothing. And I became a multi-millionaire because I never said no. Excuse me, let me back that up. Because I never took no for an answer. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. If you can do it, I can do it. And I have that mentality to this day. And I'll always have that mentality. Because how can somebody do something that I can't do? How does that make sense? It can't. The only time that can happen is if you allow it to happen. And we can't. So go back to what motivates you too. Going back to that personal side. Motivation comes from that personal side. Reading books. Being organized. Being structured. Feeling good about yourself. That's motivating. But looking at others and their success. To me, that's a motivating thing. That's something that I always look at. And we got to sharpen that saw. So drive and motivation and constant improvement. That's how we continue to work on our strengths. First, we got to identify them. So we know what they are. And then what is it that we have to do periodically to make sure that we're upping our game and that we're not falling back? It's check-ins. It's just total inner discipline. Checking in on yourself. Checking in on myself to make sure I haven't fallen off. And you'll feel it. When you fall off, you feel it. You're just kind of like, you're just not like in the mode. But when you're on top of things and you wake up and you're fresh and you're ready to rock and roll and you just know things are clicking, it's because you're in a right mental capacity and a right mental state, because your weaknesses are being taken care of and they're being worked on, because they're always being worked on, but your strengths are up here. They're just firing. But don't forget to check in on that stuff. So my homework to you is very simple. Easy. One of the easiest ones you're going to have. I want you to find something that's motivating. I want you to pick up a book. I want you to watch a documentary. I want you to follow somebody that's successful, and I want you to listen to their story. Pick the person. It doesn't matter what industry. I want you to listen to what they've done, how they've done it, but internally start processing, if they can do it, I can do it. I want you to look at somebody that you're competing against right now in your marketplace. Somebody that you know that you can compete against. It might be a stretch, but you can get there. Not necessarily the top dog, but somebody that's relatively new. Somebody in your office. Somebody that you know in the back of your mind that if I win this war, then I'll get to the next level. I need you guys to focus on getting better. I need you to take these strengths, have something motivating that allows you to continue to improve on them. That's the critical piece to strengths. So think about that, do it, and make sure that you check in with yourself periodically to make sure that your strengths are still at the top of their game.